started?
Yeah, you can ask a question.
So is it the duality? When we were talking about like when we don't want to meditate and then you meditate, or the like and the dislike, is that duality? And just trying to that
Yes,
it's almost the battle within.
simple understanding is that knowledge, desire, and action. So that knowledge comes from the intellect, desire comes from the mind, and action comes from the body, including the sense and the motor organs. So the very knowledge, that is, it's a very famous principle. Janati, ichhati, karoti, means first to know it, then to desire based on what you know it. But mind says no. Mind, even opposes the intellect. So when the mind opposes the intellect, then we have Rajo and Tamo Guna in the mind. Then the mind says, I will do what I like, not what is right and good. So that explains the state of the mind. We need not to go for applying the psychological batteries to know our state of the mind, how much anxiety. We have lot of batteries, the depression inventories. No, we don't know. We can easily know by our statement. So, what we are doing, welcome, Sam. So, what we are doing last week, we said there are 4 stages of meditation. So, now how I explain 4 stages of meditation with reference to variety of experiences. So, they are for these 4 stages of meditation are known as the lower meditation practices. In the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the 18th Sutra, in the first chapter, it says Virama Pratyaya Abhyas Purva Sanskar Sesho Anyaha. Means what? By persistent practice, by regular practice, by becoming a seeker, one attains objectless state which is known as the higher meditation or asampragyat samadhi or asampragyat meditation. Let us take a very simple example. When the mind and the intellect knows Lara, do you know Lara? Yes, I know her. So then the mind does not invite any other thought. There is a clear knowledge. But when the teacher says you have a real self behind the mind, then what happens to the mind? Do you know the real self as it is? No. Why you don't know it? So we can give many examples why you don't know it. Because there is still a doubt. Do I have a doubt that you are Lara? No. Do I have a doubt that there is a real self? Mind says, no, I don't have a doubt. Then you know it. You are already in the state of meditation. You need not to practice it. Say goodbye. Do you see that? I'm using a very simple analogy because the mind is still in doubt of which I am not aware. So, what should I do? I continue to understand and I continue to do the practice. Everything is clearly explained by these great and crazy masters. I'm only explaining what these masters are talking about. So now see that. Now see another point here. Should I do the practice according to what my mind likes Or should I follow a discipline as taught by the masters? Surely, because my mind is still not very clear, it still has many doubts, it is not still there at that highest state of meditation. Hence, I should follow a discipline as taught by the masters. So there comes mind says, I don't feel like doing it. Why? Because I feel stressed. Oh, that is why you must do it. That is why I must do the practice. I was just talking to Lara. Many people say, no, let us skip this week, not feeling good. If you're not feeling good, you must do it in order to feel good. So, last week, now see the other point of view. So, we discussed first thing, very important, that we discussed that without the mind, the sense organs cannot perceive anything. It is the sense organ that perceive the world outside, and it causes the duality. Another answer, Lara. That duality in the mind coming from the impression received from the sense organ. You see a person, the mind doesn't like it. What happens? We divide our mind. That knowledge creates a division. Now, when the sense organs are absorbed into the mind, there is no duality. The first stage. What happens then? It instantly changes your behavior, your attitude. So it means meditation must change my behavior and attitude. No worries, Leslie and Alex. You have joined in the middle. So as we will continue, you will understand. Commitment is required. Not to me, to yourself. Why should you have commitment to? So, second level, what happens? The mind aligns with the experiences that you receive in meditation. For example, calmness. No, I experience calmness, peace, very good meditation. No. So, what is happening by regular practice? The mind aligns with those experiences of calmness, peace, silence, and the mind awakens to one reality. What is that reality? The mind has been searching peace and calmness and happiness outside. Now I am getting it without any object, person, thing, people outside. That is second level of the knowledge. So what happens to the mind? Now see, what happens to the mind? By regular practice, one day you wake up and the mind says, your mind is crazy. And intellect says, come on, just practice meditation to remove that craziness. Because I have experienced peace and calmness without any object, without the help of any object or a person or a thing. Are you getting it? Did you understand? Why meditation? We say meditation leads to the permanent happiness, which is independent of anything outside, including our honey, including our wealth, including our power. Nothing outside is required. So what it gives to the mind? A tremendous faith now. Because of our experience, it gives a faith to the mind, and the faith must follow together with the right knowledge. So who gives the right knowledge? The masters. Who has discovered this journey of yoga, the science of yoga? The third stage, what happens? Third stage, the time comes in the life of a seeker. That intellect in the mind is Allying the absolute knowledge to the intellect and the mind and to the body 24 by 7. And what is that absolute knowledge? Permanent peace, happiness, love, wisdom. The transformation takes place. That is what Patanjali is. So that is the foundation. So now go to the Sutra of the Patanjali. Patanjali says the lower level of dispassion leads to the 4 stages of meditation that we did last week. And the higher level of dispassion leads to the higher meditation state. Now, what is dispassion? What is dispassion? Dispassion in the mind means the mind is neither attached nor detached. It does not like or dislike anything or any object in the world based on impulse, based on habit, based on instinct, based on my preferences. Now the mind is living almost in a sense of freedom. So when the mind is living in the freedom, you are a great seeker and you can easily absorb yourself into the meditation. You can bypass the first 4 stages. You can directly enter into the higher stage of meditation. Dispassion. Dispassion. Now, dispassion comes by discernment in the intellect. What is discernment? In Sanskrit, it is known as viveka. And what is that discernment? That you separate what is right and what is wrong. You separate what is right and good from what you like and what is pleasant to you. What you like and what is pleasant to you will cause desire. And the desire is seeking happiness outside. Desire simply means seeking something other than me for the sake of happiness. Pasta gives me happiness. Pasta is outside. Example, pasta is outside. Pasta gives me happiness. Pasta is outside. So, what is discernment here? That we ask the intellect to please examine if the happiness contains in the pasta. Happiness is not there. If the happiness contains in the honey, say for example, if the happiness contains in your honey, I'm saying an example, in your honey, what will happen then to your honey? So then everyone will like to possess your honey because happiness contains there. Nobody is going to leave. So discernment is required in the intellect. Now I'm taking you to a little deeper. That will make this sutra clear. The cause of the intellect is 3 gunas. Cause of the intellect. 3 gunas. Inertness, that is tamoguna. Activity, always running. Have you seen some people are always running, excited? Normally we say hyperactive people, always busy. They don't have time for themselves. But they feel they... Oh, Lara is one of them. Okay. And the third one is the knowledge. The intellect that is guided by the knowledge balances the activity and also the letharginess instantly. So, how I observed Terry and why I appreciated her? Simple, simple reason. She said I was not feeling good, tamoguna. The intellect said I must do the practice. So she said, I opened the beginning of the lessons. I heard it, and then I did the practice myself. I did the practice myself. You see, you have to understand simply in your head. Say, for example, I have an anxiety, let me take a cup of coffee, and then you start thinking about the anxiety, and mind is constantly repeating those thoughts. Then what is going to happen? That activity in the mind, which is Rajoguna, will take you to Tamoguna. It will make you inert. It will make you obsessed with that feeling, that thought. So, why the discernment? I must take my mind to the Satoguna. Satoguna means knowledge. Knowledge. So, can you remind yourself that my real self is of the nature of peace and happiness? It is the mind. You are crazy. I'm not crazy. How to go beyond the mind? Let me start the practice. Let me stop the thinking, these thoughts, which creates a chain of thought pertaining to anxiety, pertaining to anger, pertaining to fatigue, pertaining to anything that you don't want in your life. Are you getting it? So, the cause of the intellect is the three gunas, means three qualities, means three types of thoughts, mean three types of behavior, means three types of action. A lot of things, we can just explain in this. So you see that you have a pain, and if the intellect is living in the inactivity, letharginess, that opposes the knowledge, then what happens? The mind says, who will do it? Who has to meditate? Let me keep lying down. Let me remain depressed. Then who is responsible? You are. Why don't you challenge the mind? How dare you enter into my life? By thoughts, inside. Because intellect must follow the right knowledge. So when it follows the right knowledge, it becomes what? It becomes satoguna. When it becomes satoguna, then you are ready. What happens then, satoguna? Now the intellect is inspired by the right knowledge. What is that right knowledge? The meditation means discovery of our real nature. And what is our real nature? The real nature is full of permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. So what happens? If your mind is clear with the right knowledge, it will inspire you to do the practice. But if the intellect lives at the highest level of awareness and knowledge, I started the same thing in a different way. Do I know Lara? Do I know Stephen? Yes, I know it. No more thought is required. I know it. Do I know my real self? I told you hundred of times that real self is of the nature of permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. Do you know, Lara, the way you know the real self? No. Why no? Because of the factors I already explained. Because the way the mind is acting, the way the mind inside is behaving, invoking the thoughts, we have to get rid of those thoughts. How? Not by force, not by control, but by understanding, but by clarity. How can I force my intellect? Lara is still there in front of me. You must know, Lara. No. Do I need any action, physical action to know, Lara? No. I only need a knowledge. Where? In the intellect. Same way. Clarity about my real nature will help me to get rid of huh, all these crazy stuff of anxiety, duality, conflict, anger, hesitation. It really drops. But when it drops, then it must follow meditation practice. If you don't practice, then the result will not be there. Clear? So let us start our practice of meditation. Close your eyes